We got him. It was a pretty unreal experience. The first 30 minutes of that game, to say the least. I didn't think we're gonna start like that. That's for sure. And after round one, it was good to get the jump early and get some confidence in the boys. But I mean, we'll get right into the nitty gritty of it all. And it was really our start that set us up for the rest of the game. The pressure was really good early. They were turning it over a lot. We're in their face. We're making them think about every kick, every decision. And, it showed on the scoreboard, by 35 points midway through the second. So we had 6-0 at one point of the game. And, I mean, it helped. Obviously, Carlton are very good and they came back and brought it within a kick at one point. So it's probably a reflection of our lack of scoring and something we do have to work on going forward, because scoring that little is going to hurt us. I mean, we won this inside 50, 76-51. So we clearly dominated in that area of the game, but when the score gets that close and that big of a difference to the inside 50s, there is an issue we need to work on. So, look, there's things that it wasn't a perfect game. It was scrappy. It was wet. It was, scrappy and wet are probably the best way to describe it. It suited us early. Like I said, the rain definitely helped us a lot. It's our surge style of football. It helped a lot. The disposal game wasn't what it normally is, and it showed we smashed them in the middle, which was their area of the game, leading in clearances, centre clearances, stoppage clearances. It was something I didn't expect us to see, and it was sort of what we were lacking in round one, I guess. And a big difference maker there was Dion Prestia. I mean, 33 disposals, 13 clearances. It just shows how much we missed him, or we do miss him when he's not playing in the side, which with his poor hammies is unfortunately more often than not. So we love Dion in the team. He just does wonders for us. Jack Rewalt as well, I thought was really, really good. His scoring pressure probably wasn't what it could be or what we've seen in the past, but the way he was playing was like a small forward. He rove that one off Tom Lynch there, off the side of the pack, snapped a goal. He had 3 holding the ball tackles, which is something you expect from your smalls. I mean, I don't like any trash talk any players, but we had Jason Castagna playing all year. I haven't seen him have that many in a game. So to see Jack Rewalt doing something like that was pretty awesome. Especially at his age, he doesn't chase much. We know that. It's something that's not really and hasn't really been in his game. So that was really good to see. But I don't know what it was. They just seemed up and about. They seemed up for the fight. Like I said, started in the middle of the ground. I thought we did really well. One thing that Carlton do really well is they have Sam Walsh start off the half-forward line, then surge into the midfield and bring that extra number there, and he sweeps and gets the clearances, and that's a part of what makes their team so good. And a lot of teams will have their halfback follow him into the midfield, and it leaves a bit of a gap. But I thought what we did really well was we kept our positioning. We allowed Walsh to run into the middle and ended up with 34 odd disposals, but he only had the 4 score involvements because what we did was leave our halfback in his position, and that's where we turned the ball over a lot, was at that halfback, and we rebounded really well. And we also closed that gap and didn't let them have easy entries into the forward 50. So I love that we were able to do that. We took away a part of their game, and they were obviously lacking in terms of backmen in the back line there. That was obviously they've got a lot of injuries, and it was well documented, but that's not even the area that we beat them in. I mean, we beat them in the one area that they're probably best at, and that's in the centre. I mean, like I said, 76 inside 50s, we didn't capitalise nearly enough as we should have, and their back line actually held up really well considering who they had in. I mean, Sard and Doherty, obviously, which is great down there. So something we've got to work on, but I think that we're doing some good things nonetheless. Jaden Short, 989 metres gained. I mean, we know he can probably kick that far nearly with one boot, but it's unbelievable how many metres gained this guy gets every week, and it's probably an underrated part of the game. His disposal efficiency wasn't as good as it could have been. I mean, there was that one there where I can't remember who it was. Someone was having a set shot, and he ran from about 30 metres away to get behind him and try and launch at goal, and it just came off the boot poorly. But normally he gets the footy and he just drills it as far as he can. And metres gained is such a big aspect of football. I mean, you can't kick a goal without, metres gained essentially. So to him have 989 was huge. I think Liam Baker smothers literally everything. I think every time someone kicks the footy and Liam Baker is around, he's going to smother it. He finds a way to get there every time, puts his body on the line, and he is someone I think we really, really need to re-sign. I mean, he's so important, and he can play everywhere. I mean, he pushed forward at one point. He played back most of the night. He can play in the midfield when we need him to. He's a bit like Jaden Short, but Jaden Short probably doesn't push forward. But he can play everywhere, and seeing him do that again on the weekend was incredible. I guess the other player we need to talk about is Shea Bolton. I've got his jersey back there hanging up, the Dreamtime jersey he designed. But I didn't think he had the best game, but obviously what I'm referring to is the little showboating he did and a bit of controversy in the news. Do people like it? Do people don't like it? It was a bit of a 50-50 split. Some people liked to see the personality. Other people thought it was disrespectful. At the time, I was a bit taken back. I was like, oh, geez, that's a bit ballsy. I mean, the game was still very much in the balance at that point of time. It wasn't like it was said and done. And he missed the same shot last week, or the week prior, I should say. So it made me very nervous when I saw him run into goal like that, because against Port, he ran into an open goal, exactly the same position, and he shanked it. So seeing him do that, I thought, oh, no, mate, you've got to kick it. But anyway, I think the more I think about it, the less I hate it. I think, people showboat all the time in footy. It's probably a little bit disrespectful, but I don't know. I think probably got talked about a little bit too much. I think there's bigger issues in the game than someone showboating or celebrating a little bit early. So I think we could probably move on from that one. Juddy Clark, I didn't think he had the impact he did the week before. He's only young, his second game of footy. He's not going to kill it every week or have a big impact and whatnot. Obviously still finding his feet, but once we had our medical sub, Noah Bolter went off and the medical sub, Morris Rioli, came on, it made me realise that Morris needs to start every week. He came on, and I think he was on the ground for maybe 5-10 minutes, and he was absolutely everywhere. He was the only one that could match Adam Saad's run because he's the quickest guy on our team, and he kept him accountable. The whole game, Saad was doing whatever he wanted. In the last 5 minutes, Rioli was able to match him with speed, and Saad still had a good last 5 minutes, but Morris was there sort of keeping him accountable, essentially. So I don't know why Morris got dropped in the first place. I think he needs to play every week. I love what he brings. I mean, tell me if you think otherwise, but I love what Morris brings, and he's going to be there every week in my eyes. So let's keep him there. But speaking of Noah Bolter, we did finish the game with a few injuries. Some I didn't actually know about until today when the medical report got released. But Noah Bolter did a hamstring on the night. That was pretty well known or documented, whatever you want to call it. He went off for Rioli to come on. Cochin has had surgery this week, or getting surgery this week, for an injured clavicle, which is a bone through the chest. He had a bit of a crack in it, and I believe it happened when Jack Martin shrugged off that tackle and Cochin tried to bring him down on the goal square just as Carlton were red hot coming back with those 4 goals in 4 minutes. So Cochin there's got an injured clavicle bone that's getting fixed. And Robbie Tarrant broke a knuckle in the first 3 minutes of the game. So considering he did that and he still had a few fists on the footy there throughout the rest of the game, was pretty impressive, because I would not be punching a ball if I had my knuckles just broken. So Robbie is having surgery as well, but being a 9-day break, he will potentially get up for it. When we got to wait and see, but it's definite that Bolter and Cochin won't play next week. So that's disappointing. Obviously, it's always good to get a win, but when it comes at a bit of a cost, it's a little bit bittersweet. But hopefully Tarrant can get up, because we've got Tom Hawkins and Geelong coming up next week, and Tarrant's going to be very important, especially playing on a bloke like Tom Hawkins. It's very, very hard to stop. So hopefully he can get up for that one. We'll have to wait and see. Dusty will obviously be back as well, which is huge. He had a bit of an illness over the weekend, so Dusty will be back and ready to go. But overall, I think from that game, I still think there's room to grow and become more damaging. Like I said, we smashed them in the middle, which is huge. I mean, we're growing in that centre clearances, stoppage part of our game, which we've needed to work on, because we haven't been that great at it in the past, famously as well. But then to have 76 to 51 inside 50s and only win by 15 points, it's something you really got to concern ourselves with, I think, because, I mean, not to say they're not a good team, but Carlton's backline was pretty lacking on the weekend or on Thursday night. And considering there wasn't many people there in their backline that they would normally have, and, they did a very good job, is what I'm trying to get at. So I think if we're going to play on teams with full backlines and higher up the ladder, we're going to struggle if we're only converting as much as we did. So definitely got to work on that, but I think we can, and, we can be damaging. I don't see why not. We've got a pretty favourable run for the rest of the year. I should touch wood, because I know it's Richmond and things happen, but I still think the rest of the year could be very exciting for us. In 2019, we finished 9th at the bye round, so exactly where we were at this year. So, why not? If we can keep a full list in the next couple of weeks when we get Cochin and Bolter back and continue to grow, then it's going to be interesting to see what we can do going forward. So fingers crossed we can pull some magic out, pull rabbit out of the hat and play some seriously good footy. But let me tell you, it was very satisfying getting Carlton back over the weekend, on Thursday, I should say. It was, after round 1, we were pretty flat, I reckon. It had been a long time coming, and probably overdue Carlton were for a win against us, but it was good to get them back this time around. And, it doesn't matter in which fashion we did it. It happened. It was controversial. Obviously, the goal decision that got turned in the last quarter worked in our favour. Was it touched? Was it not? Who knows? I thought maybe it was. Probably wasn't enough evidence to overturn it, but we'll take it. Doesn't matter. Looking back now, we've got the win, so we'll take that and we'll move forward and look to Geelong next week. So I guess until the Geelong preview, enjoy the highlights from Thursday night and go Tigers.